At the beginning of time, Eve ate the forbidden fruit and God punished her by kicking her and her family out of Eden. Sometime later Eva's son Cain killed his brother Abel and escaped to the east, where he was protected by fallen angels known as the Watchers. Eventually Cain's descendants were also helped by the Watchers and together they built the industrial civilization. Their cities spread evil around the world, and only Seth's descendants could protect what was left. Many years later, a man known as Lamech is doing a special ritual to pass the responsibility of protecting humanity to Noah, who is his son and also Seth's last descendant. He starts by wrapping snakeskin around his arm, but before they can finish the ritual, they hear an alert warning them of an upcoming army. Noah immediately hides while Lamech approaches the army and learns that their leader wants to mine a special mineral known as Tsohar. When Lamech refuses, the leader responds by slapping him, saying that his city is starving and that his army will take what they want to survive. Then he rips off the snakeskin from Lamech's arm and kills him, causing Noah to run away. Decades later, Noah is now a proud family man. One day he's out gathering with his sons Ham and Shem when suddenly a drop falls from the sky and as soon as it hits the ground, it grows into a flower. Taking this as a sign, Noah gathers his sons to leave, but they stop when they see a creature scurrying away. Very slowly, Noah approaches it and finds a broken spear in its stomach that causes the animal to die. At that moment the poachers that attack the animal surround him, so Noah removes the spear from the creature and uses it to stab one of them. He then steals that poacher's spear and proceeds to fight the other guys, exchanging a few hits before killing them one by one. Afterward, Noah and his sons start a fire to say goodbye to the poor creature. In the evening, Noah returns home to his wife Nemeh and his third son Japheth and tells them about the flower he saw, but Nemeh insists he should rest. Sometime later, Noah shows up in a wasteland near a mountain, noticing blood under his feet. A flower suddenly blooming happens again, and at that moment, the land is fully underwater, drowning everything in sight. This makes Noah wake up screaming, and when he shares his nightmare with Nemeh, he says this was a dream sent by God to tell him the end of the world is coming. It turns out that the mountain in the dream is the home of Noah's grandfather, so the whole family begins making their way there. After lots of traveling, they reach an abandoned Tsohar mine and discover a bunch of dead scavengers. Suddenly they hear a girl's voice, and they follow the noise to find Elah, whose injuries are taken care of by Nemeh. Soon they hear dangerous men approaching, so the family brings Elah along and they run away with no choice but to walk into a cursed wasteland. Most of the men are scared and stop running, but a few of them still chase them so Noah stays to fight them while his family escapes. However, the rocks suddenly start moving and they knock Noah out. He wakes up moments later and discovers he and his family have been left in a chasm. Then they're approached by the rocks who turn out to be the Watchers, who recognize Noah as Seth's descendant, causing Semyaza to scold his friend Og for not killing the family because men betrayed God. Noah tells them that God sent them but Semyaza doesn't believe him and the Watchers leave. When night falls, Nemeh puts Elah to sleep and points out that her wound won't let her have children. At that moment Noah hears a noise. It's Og, who begins guiding them out of the cams as he tells them the whole story. The Watchers were made of light, but when they chose to help mankind, God chastised them by turning them into rock and mud. The Watchers still shared their knowledge and thanks to it humans became powerful but also very violent. In the end, Noah's grandfather Methuselah was the only one who protected the Watchers by using a sword to scorch the earth and destroy the army that hunted down the Watchers. Now the other Watchers can't accept that God reached out to a human like Noah, but Og still guides them out of the wasteland and into a wonderful mountain. While the group rests, Noah and Shem climb the mountain and reach the cave where they find Methuselah, who touches Shem's forehead to instantly make him fall asleep so they can have privacy. As they share some tea, Methuselah explains that his own father had already predicted that God would destroy the world if men continued their ways, and that's the same prophecy Noah is seeing in his dreams now. Methuselah wonders if Noah believes that the destruction can be averted, and Noah says that the world will die by water but that he also saw new life, so he thinks there's more to the message. After Methuselah agrees, Noah realizes that his grandfather put something in the tea as he suddenly finds himself alone in the cave, which begins filling with water. A large structure appears before him and Noah watches how a herd of animals start swimming towards it. A light takes over the vision and causes Noah to wake up, so Methuselah asks what he saw. Noah concludes that the water is meant to cleanse them so God can start again. He's now sure that they can survive the flood, so Methuselah gives him a seed from the Garden of Eden. Afterward Noah returns to his family and tells them that humanity will be punished but they were chosen to save the animals, who are innocent. Then he proceeds to plant the seed from Eden as he finally realizes that he must build the ark from his dream to survive the flood. The next morning Noah finds Og getting dragged away by the Watchers, who call him a traitor. Noah begs the Watchers for their help, but Semyaza points out that last time they lost everything for helping men. When Noah keeps on insisting, Semyaza gets ready to hit him, but at that moment water begins coming out from the spot with the seed. This water spreads all over the place and helps plants sprout, bringing life back to the wasteland in the form of beautiful tall trees. Seeing this as a sign, the Watchers finally accept to help Noah build the ark. Years begin to pass and the water travels across the land to reach the animals, who drink it and immediately go to where Noah's family and the Watchers are building the ark with lots of hard work. The kids are now adults and Shem and Elah are in a relationship. One afternoon they're spending some time in private sharing some kisses, and Shem tries to kiss Ilah's wound. However, she hates it because it still hurts. Shem also notices him spying on them, jealous because he doesn't have anyone. Suddenly tons of birds begin flying toward the ark, so the couple goes back and finds Japheth telling Noah about the birds. Noah sees this as a sign that the storm will begin soon. Afterward, the birds fly into the ark, settling down on the perches made for them. Since they're quite loud, Nameh burns some herbs to put them to sleep with the smoke. Noah explains to Japheth that each animal came in pairs of a male and a female, and after the storm, they'll repopulate the world. Ham hears this and later approaches Noah to point out that everyone has a partner beside him in Japheth, but Noah assures him that God will send everything they'll need. Soon also the snakes come and Japheth is scared, but Noah reminds him no animal shall be left behind. Sometime later, Ham is in the woods when he suddenly notices some women walking by. When he tries to follow them, a man shows up and tries to attack him, but thankfully a second man appears and kills the first one before Ham can get hurt. This man introduces himself as King Tuval-Cain, which causes Ham to point out that there are no kings in God's garden. Tuval-Cain laughs at that, and when he notices Ham staring at his war hammer, he offers it to him. Then Ham takes Tuval-Cain and his people to the ark, but Tuval-Cain stops him from going to his father, calling him his best soldier. Noah cuts in and reminds him that his son isn't Tuval-Cain's, so he makes him return the weapon and go to his family. Then Tuval-Cain claims that everything in this land including the ark belongs to him. When Noah argues that the ark was built to protect the innocent from God's cleansing, Tuval-Cain insists that God has long abandoned them and that his army will take what they want to survive. Recognizing his words, Noah realizes that this is the man who killed his father and immediately announces that he's the son of Seth, so the Watchers rise to protect him. Tuval-Cain's men are terrified, but Tuval-Cain isn't bothered and tells Noah that if God does try to wipe them out, he will return with legions to take the ark. After they leave, Tuval-Cain orders his men to make more weapons and warriors to fight the Watchers. Everyone begins working hard, however their camp is destroyed when the largest animals go through the forest to join the ark. A few days later, Elah approaches Noah to point out that Shem needs someone who can give him children. Noah assures her that she's a precious gift to his family, but Elah still asks him to find a new wife for Shem. Later in the evening, Noah visits Tuval-Cain's village, where he finds men trading women and children for meat. He watches in horror how girls scream when they're given to the soldiers to be slaves and how the soldiers toss a goat in exchange, which the villagers rip apart while it's alive. Afterward, Noah sees a vision of fire raining down on the village and blood under his shoes, so he decides to leave empty-handed. The next morning, Noah returns to the ark and Ham asks if he found them wives, but Noah says that there will be none. Ham replies that he can't be a man without a wife, but Noah just orders him to help his brothers. Furious, Ham yells at his father, so Noah pushes him and tells him that to be a man he must do what needs to be done. Humiliated, Ham runs away, and Elah chases after him. Later, Noah tells Nameh that evil is in all of them and decides that after the ark is done, they'll die with everyone else. Unwilling to accept this, Nameh goes to see Methuselah to ask for help for her children, but Methuselah agrees that men corrupted the world so God must wipe them out completely. Meanwhile, Ham sneaks into the village only to accidentally fall into a mass grave where he finds a woman named Nile. Realizing that she's hiding here to avoid men, Ham promises not to hurt her and shares some food before offering to help her escape. However, Nile is too scared to leave, so Ham stays with her instead. Back at the ark, Noah realizes his kids are missing and sends Shem to find them. Elah is still looking for Ham through the forest and eventually finds Methuselah. He realizes that he hasn't given her a blessing yet, so he touches her stomach, causing Elah to back away in pain. At that moment, she hears Shem calling for her, so Methuselah tells her to go. The couple reunites with a kiss and they finally get frisky with each other. Meanwhile, Noah and the Watchers finally finish building the ark. As soon as Noah closes the door, the sky darkens and rain begins falling, announcing the beginning of the end. Noticing this, Ham pulls Nile out of the pit to escape, and Tuval-Cain shoots his weapon at the sky, demanding an answer from God. When he gets nothing, he prepares his men for battle. Shem and Elah return to the ark, but Ham's still missing, so Noah goes to search for him. In the meantime, Tuval-Cain's army rushes to Noah's ark through the forest while Ham and Nile are running nearby. Suddenly Nile gets caught in a bear trap and falls, so Ham uses his own body to shield her from the upcoming army. At that moment Noah arrives and pulls Ham away, but Nile is left behind and she ends up trampled to death. Soon the army gets to the ark and a fierce battle begins between them and the Watchers. The giant creatures are very strong and use their rock arms to push the men away as if they were mere flies. While Ham and Noah make their way back to the ark, Tuval-Cain shoots the Watchers with Sohar, eventually hitting Samyaza in the chest. Then Tuval-Cain stabs the wound with a spear, pushing with all his strength until Samyaza explodes into a bright light that shoots to the heavens. When the Watchers realize that their leader returned home, they begin to fight more furiously and desperately, because now they know that dying will lead them to heaven. Little by little, the army loses a big amount of men, but the Watchers are also losing numbers without a care. A few men reach the ark, but Noah fights them fiercely and throws them off, unaware that Tuval-Cain is climbing the ark from the other side. Two men manage to open one of the doors and Shem comes out to kill them, but Noah quickly sends him back inside. Eventually there are too many men to fight, so Og says goodbye to Noah and ends things for himself to join his family. With no more watchers left, water begins erupting from the ground in great quantities to start the flood. Noticing his, Tuval-Cain starts breaking his way into the ark, which Shem hears from the inside. In the forest, Methuselah eats his favorite berry before welcoming a wave that washes the forest away. The water destroys the army and reaches the ark, so Noah and Tuval-Cain hold on as the ark gets flooded with water too, shaking the structure and killing any remaining soldiers. However, soon it begins to float, which allows Tuval-Cain to enter through the hole he made while Noah reunites with his family through the door. People all over the land begin drowning and Elah and Shem beg Noah to save a few, but he insists that there's no room for them. Then the family gathers for dinner, ignoring the screams outside their walls as Noah shares the whole story of the creation and how everything had been perfectly balanced. He reminds them this is the fault of Adam and Eve because they ate the forbidden fruit, but after the great flood, paradise can begin once more with no men to destroy it again. Meanwhile, Ham secretly gives food to Tuval-Cain, explaining that he's helping him because Noah let Nile die. To Ham's surprise, Tuval-Cain suddenly takes a sleeping animal and eats it, saying that God made them in his image to subdue the animals, not serve them. Then he shares the meat with Ham, telling him it's their world to seize. Weeks pass and the family comes to the conclusion there's no land left. One night, Elah wakes up feeling sick. Using herbs, Nameh discovers that Methuselah healed Elah and she's now pregnant. Elah cries with joy, but Nameh realizes that this will anger Noah. Later Elah announces her pregnancy and Nameh confesses that she asked Methuselah for help, but Noah thinks that she undermined God. Feeling conflicted, Noah throws things to the floor and goes outside to beg to God not to make him kill his grandchild, to no avail. While Elah cries in Nameh's arms, they notice that the rain suddenly stops. The family comes out and Elah says that the rain stopped because God's blessing their child, but Noah disagrees as he announces that if the child is a boy, he will become the last man. If it's a girl, she must die to prevent her from mothering more children. Shem tries to defend his child, but Noah ignores him. A few months later, Japheth welcomes a crow that he sent out, but since its claws are clean, it means it didn't find land. He and Nameh meet with Elah and Shem, who are preparing a raft to leave. Learning that there's no land doesn't change their minds, they're still determined to save their baby. Afterward Nameh confronts Noah, begging him to punish her instead of their kids since she was the one that asked for Methuselah's help. Noah argues that all men are being disciplined and this is just justice, so Nameh points out that Noah will lose his family if he harms the child. Meanwhile Tuval-Cain sees that Elah is pregnant and asks Ham to bring Noah to him. When Ham hesitates, Tuval-Cain reminds him that Noah killed the woman he chose and is now about to kill his brother's child. In order to make the plan believable, Tuval-Cain kills another animal. Back to Noah, he shows up outside and immediately burns the couple's raft to stop them from leaving. At that moment Elah's water breaks, so Nameh takes her away to help her give birth. With a weapon in his hands, Shem stares angrily at his father, but before things can escalate, Ham yells that the animals are awake and attacking each other. Noah immediately goes to check, but this is just a trap for Tuval-Cain to ambush him. The two men begin fighting while Ham watches, feeling conflicted over whom he should be loyal to. Blood is spilled on Ham's face as the men viciously attack each other, but Noah eventually gets the upper hand and grabs Tuval-Cain by his neck. Meanwhile Elah gives birth to a healthy baby yet she continues to scream in pain. It turns out she's having twins. When the second baby comes out, Nameh announces that both babies are girls. Hearing this, Shem promises Elah that Noah won't harm their daughters and leaves. Back to the fight, Tuval-Cain bites Noah's hand, freeing himself before knocking Noah down. However, the ark suddenly crashes into the top of a mountain, throwing everyone back. Then Noah finds Tuval-Cain holding onto the broken floor, so he moves to finish him. At that moment, Shem attacks his father, determined to keep him away from his children. Tuval-Cain uses this opportunity to climb back up and knock Shem down, claiming that Noah is his. Then Tuval-Cain corners Noah, but as announces that he'll build the new world in his image, Ham suddenly stabs him. Before falling dead, Tuval-Cain grabs Ham and gives him Lamech's snakeskin, saying that he's now a man for taking a life. At that moment Noah rises, convinced that these events were part of God's plans. When Ham reminds him that Nile was innocent, Noah reconsiders for a moment before going to see his grandchildren. Nameh tries to stop him, revealing that Elah gave birth to twins and reminding him that God sent them what they need. Noah ignores her and corners Elah, who begs him to let her calm her crying daughters. He lets her sing a lullaby and once the babies fall asleep, Noah tells Elah to leave, but she insists on holding them until their last breaths. Then Noah lifts his blade but in the end, he kisses their foreheads instead. While Elah cries, Noah drops his knife, deciding not to kill his grandchildren. Shem finds them and holds his family while a dove with an olive branch flies over them, announcing that land has been found. A few weeks later, Noah has exiled himself to a cave, keeping himself busy by making wine from fruit and drinking himself silly. Nearby, Ham watches Shem build a home for his new family while Elah tends to their children. He then goes to visit his father, only to find him unconscious on the shore. Shem and Japheth arrive and help Noah up, but Ham merely tosses him a bag and leaves them for good. On his way out, Ham is found by Elah and he explains that he doesn't belong with them. After Ham leaves, Noah meets with Elah. She asks why he spared her daughters, so he admits that he only felt love and innocence when he saw them. Noah then laments having failed God and his family, but Elah believes that it was God who let him make a choice. Because Noah chose love, God gave them a second chance to do better. Hearing this, Noah decides to return to his family and reunites with his beloved wife. When he opens Ham's bag, he finds the snakeskin and uses it to honor his sons and grandchildren, giving them the responsibility to replenish the earth. At that moment, light begins to shine from the heavens, showing that God approves of this new world. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.